What up guys, Brinks here, and welcome to the first episode of Kameo Class with Smoke. So Smoke is one of the characters in this game that gets a lot of good stuff from many of the cameos, and doesn't have just one definitive best cameo, at least not at this point in the meta. So, I wanted to create this series to go through a lot of his better cameo options, and really show you the cool things that each one offers Smoke, starting with my favorite and one of his better cameos, Sektor. Sektor is one of the best designed cameos in this game, and has a fully usable toolkit that Smoke can fully take advantage of. Let's start with the Telepunch. This move on its own is a great long or mid-range check to keep your opponent on their toes, and if you're close enough, you can full combo from it. Though it isn't safe if they block it close, since it's a very punishable -17. If you're far, the most you can get is a down back 1 if you jump cancel into it, which is good at least since it obviously brings them close. For this input, I just roll my thumb from down on the D-pad in a half circle to up on the D-pad, right after the Telepunch starts to hit the opponent. While Telepunch is good to punish long range moves with, or just to throw out to try and get in on your opponent, Smoke generally doesn't struggle much with this on his own, and Sektor's missile, which we'll talk about later, provides a better means of long-range pressure. So you're generally better off just sending out a missile and doing a telecancel to get in, but it depends on who you're fighting. The main use Smoke has for Telepunch is for combo extensions. Most importantly, it allows for a full conversion off of standing 1. The reason this is useful, other than being able to get a full combo off of a 7-frame move, is it lets you turn your forward 3 into a full, technically hit confirmable combo if your reactions are quick enough. Which is great because forward 3 is a really good 13-frame low that you'll be using a lot to catch people trying to neutral duck your highs and throws. It's too fast to hit confirm by itself, and forward 3-2 is obviously super easy to up block. But if you do forward 3 into a back forward 3 cancel into a stand 1, you'll have just enough time to see if they got hit, and you can then call Sektor and launch them. You can slightly delay the cameo input after the stand 1 and don't need to press it instantly, which lets you actually react to the hit first, though it is a tight confirm. It's also a fairly safe thing to go for. If they block the forward 3, they can technically mash pokes or armor after the back forward 3 cancel, but generally this won't be a lot of damage to worry about unless they can launch off of their armor move. If you've conditioned them to start doing this after blocking forward 3 cancels, you can just block yourself after the cancel and you'll be safe to pretty much anything they do in response. And most armor moves on their own are pretty punishable on block, so it becomes a mind game that's mostly in Smoke's favor, which makes getting hit by forward 3 a lot scarier for your opponent. Other cameos like Kung Lao and Sub-Zero are better at this due to them comboing from a full 1-1-1 4 string, unlike Telepunch, which gives you much longer to confirm the hit before calling the cameo, but you're at least still able to do it with Sektor. It's just much harder to react to, especially with a couple more frames of input delay if you're playing online. Otherwise, Telepunch gives you really great meterless damage. It's typically better to save the cameo meter for missile knockdown pressure and just go for a normal meterless B&B into one, but it is still a solid option for combos and even lets you start or extend combos with 2-1-2, which normally only leads to back forward 3 or 1-1-1-4 after a cancel. So it just gives you a few more combo paths that you can go for, which is always cool. Now let's talk about Flameburner, which is a full restand that leaves you +19. You can technically combo into it mid-screen, but you're too far away for it to really be worth it. The one niche use it has mid-screen is that if you force a trade with it, you can usually combo off of the stun from the flames. I'm not sure how practical this is in general, but specifically against Serena Kameo, if your opponent doesn't hit confirm her double blade toss, you can force a trade that cancels Sektor out of the animation after he's already lit them on fire, which you can then combo from. To do it, you have to duck the first blade, and then you can poke Serena with a down 1, and immediately activate Flameburner. If you're fast enough, your poke will stop Serena from throwing the second blade. Then Sektor will start his flamethrower, but the first blade will stop him on the return, but the opponent will still be stunned from the beginning of the flamethrower, and you can then hit them with whatever you want. Other than that one situational use, in the corner is where Flameburner really shines, as you can enforce a strike-throw mix-up that your opponent has to deal with. Since you are plus 19 afterward, and given that your forward 3 comes out in 13 frames and throw comes out in 10, your opponent has to crouch block the forward 3, or neutral duck or tech the throw. The important part is that after the Flameburner, your opponent cannot mash, they cannot armor, and they cannot jump, which makes for a very strong situation for Smoke to be in. So, if you don't have the meter to go for an invisible reset in the corner, a Flameburner restand can be just the reset you need to steal the round or game. Finally, let's talk about the main reason that you would pick Sektor with Smoke: Up Rocket. So Sektor's rocket, or missile as I usually refer to it, gives you similar pressure to Lao's low hat, with the caveat that it's only a mid, but is also an ambush. The main benefit of this is being able to call Sektor whenever you want, and never needing to end a combo early for setup. So, if you want to play a glue-guzzling, crayon-eating style of Smoke, where you're always keeping up the aggression, then Sektor is the Kameo for you. Do you want a YOLO teleport from full screen? Sektor's got your back. Are you tired of your opponent up blocking and punishing your forward 3 too? There's a missile for that. Do you want to chuck an EX smoke ball full screen and do some wild invisible garbage? Just call your friendly neighborhood Sektor. Not to mention, the missile can allow for really good armor breaking knockdown pressure as well. So it's really just a great tool to keep the pressure on your opponent while you munch crayons in their face. Since if they get hit by it, it's pretty easy to convert into a full combo. It can even sometimes get you out of combos if your opponent hits you but fails to get out of the way of it in time. It's really scary when Smoke is invisible too, since not only do you have to deal with invisible mix, but the missile can make your opponent second guess trying to panic mash at you. And if you do manage to open them up, the cooldown is usually fast enough that by the time you end your combo, you'll likely be able to call another missile and safely activate invisibility again, so you can shove more crayons in your mouth. And speaking of combos, Up Rocket has your back with those too. They're a little wonky, but Missile can let you combo from a meterless teleport, or do a bit more damage in the corner. Or even combo directly into EX Smokeball into a Jump 1-1-2 for a high damaging and very plus knockdown against an invisible smoke. It's an amazing move, and you'll find yourself using a lot if you pick this Kameo pairing. The homing version of Up Rocket, which costs the full Kameo bar, isn't really something you'll be using much. I haven't found it to be very useful, as it doesn't give you any combo extensions that you can't already get with the regular one. The main use of it is when you're trying to finish off an opponent, you can activate the homing to force them to have to deal with the missile somehow, while you follow behind it to pressure them at the same time. The best places I've found to use the missile for pressure is right after hitting a Jump 1-1-2, or as the opponent gets dragged towards you from a down back 1, or hits the ground from down back 2. But it's a very free-form move that lets you get creative with your gameplay, which is why I prefer it over Larry Lowhat or Baby's First Combo Starter. Alright, that concludes the first episode of Kameo Klass with Smoke. If you made it this far, you're awesome, and I appreciate you a lot. If you enjoyed this style of video, or hated it, I welcome any feedback, and I try to respond to all my comments. Please like and subscribe if you did enjoy it, as I plan to make more of these for at least Smoke, and probably Ermac when he comes out. Otherwise, I'm still working on full character guides in the meantime, so stay tuned for those. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Later.